This is my trussed and stuffed Blue Spot Flathead. Originally, I was supposed to be cooking my favorite campfire meal ever in this video. A little maritime mishap changed all of that for me. So let's get into the dive.
Did forget the lube for my suit though, so it's a little sticky, and we're getting it on in the water. And if you're a moustached fella like myself, definitely recommend a bit of pawpaw. Oh, you can use Vaseline as well. Just on the stash. Help get a bit of a seal on your mask. Just gets a little leaky sometimes. The goodie bag. Through that. And under all of that. Little spitty, little quick rinsey. And we're away.
Now I knew there were mussels in the area as I'd already seen some washed up on the beach by some recent big swells. And those same swells are going to be important to this story a little later on. Chucking on my fins and uncoiling my rig line, the plan was to swim out to the rocks and see what I could find. Out a little wider, the water was much cleaner. Maybe a little milky, but plenty blue and plenty diveable. When I first head out, I like to do a few warm-up dives just like this. It gives me a chance to stretch my lungs, get any bubbles out of my suit, and just generally start to calm myself down. It's also good to suss out the terrain and see what you might be coming up against. I can already tell this isn't the best zone for mussels. They don't really like these kind of bouldery areas. I want to find some more weedy, kind of cungy terrain. Dropping down into this next area, I could already see that it's way more what I'm looking for. These rocks are covered in all kinds of seaweed, and I'm starting to see way more fish life as well. There were some nice schools of silver sweep getting around, and even a big fat yellowfin brim in the distance out there. While I wasn't looking for any fish specifically at this point, I hung around on the bottom there just waiting to see if anything would show itself. Just as I'd found the right kind of terrain and area for those mussels, I spotted something out of the corner of my eye. Swimming over to investigate, what I found was fascinating, but I gotta say it was kind of spooky as well. A massive tangle of ropes, nets, cables, equipment, and timber that I can only guess was from the tower of the fishing boat that was recently wrecked on these rocks in that big swell that I mentioned before. Luckily, the few people that were on board this boat when it did wreck all managed to get to land safely. Even though I knew no one had died here, just something about such a large structure like this boat just laying in a mess of cables and machinery, and Ryobi tools and fuel tanks, and the big cat diesel engine there was just super eerie. And if I'm honest, it did make me a little sad for the destruction of this beautiful area. And while I understand that this is going to create habitat for fish in the future, pollution in the environment right now, especially from that giant diesel tank that they weren't able to empty because of the swell, has somewhat spoiled this beautiful area. Now, as mussels are filter feeders, I wasn't too keen to take any from near this wreck. So, my plans had started to change. Now, I'd already been spying these giant schools of bait getting around, and I decided to drop down next to this gutter, hoping that maybe I would see some goatfish foraging in the gravel down there looking for little crustaceans, or maybe I'd even find some fish chasing that bait. I had already seen some fat salmon, but they weren't too keen to hang around. Now, despite this being the perfect terrain for them, unfortunately no goaties showed themselves, and nothing else really came about. So I headed back to the surface and started swimming around that point a little further out. And out there, the terrain ran into little ridges with gutters dropping off on all sides. And while it felt like on its day it would be perfect terrain for snapper and all sorts of other species, aside from this little kingfish that came flying past, there wasn't much going on. As I was also by myself, I was starting to feel a little nervous this exposed, so I headed back in around the corner where I'd seen all of that bait before. Dropping down into this gutter, I was going to try and hug this left-hand side here, once again hoping to see a goatfish foraging around, or even some of those fat salmon that I'd seen previously swimming overhead. But the activity seemed to have completely dropped off, even those baitfish had disappeared, and I was starting to really lose hope that I was going to find anything to take home. Reluctantly, I decided to head back to the surface and start packing it in. You'd never guess it though, but after all of that swimming, right near where I jumped in, I found these beautiful blue spot flatheads lying in the sand. The top-down shot like this can be a little risky when you're using a flopper. Sometimes you'll hit a rock and that spear will bounce out, and other times the flopper just won't engage and the spear will just pull clean out. Luckily this was a stone shot though, taking the fish out instantly. It was a nice treat to find those flathead after what was feeling like a bit of a letdown of a dive. It'd also been quite a while since I'd seen any flathead, so I was looking forward to making something special with it. And while that shot did brain the fish, I also made sure to put a couple of cuts in the gills so I could bleed it properly.
Well, that kind of changes the plans a bit. I did totally forget. There's actually a fishing boat that got wrecked out here fairly recently, so not too keen on eating mollusks that are filtering the water around that thing, because who knows what's in the water. We did manage to get ourselves that nice little flatty, beautiful little eating flatty, and I don't know if we'll cook it tonight. I'm been knackered, to be honest. I've been living in the swag 3, nearly 4 weeks, so man, I'm pretty sure I'm gonna be pretty keen to get home in the next day or two. So we're just gonna get that flatty iced, chilled, all beautiful, and then catch you when we're cooking it.
Back in the kitchen, and I got this beautiful blue spot flathead that we trimmed all the fins off. We scaled it and hung it in the fridge to dry, just to get that skin nice and dry, so we can get it nice and crispy in the grill. What I'm thinking is we're gonna go for like a rolled flathead, or like a porchetta kind of thing. And I want to get this skin real like crackling almost. So we'll see how we can do that under the grill. I haven't really done that before, so we're going to be experimenting, and I think we'll keep it fairly simple. Do a little stuffing of some kind and kind of truss it up, do a bit of rope work, a bit of shibari on the flathead to get it all bundled up and nice to go under the grill. We're gonna be doing a bit of deboning on this flathead, so first things first, I'm gonna make sure my knives are nice and sharp. I seriously reckon having a sharp knife could be one of the main things that is gonna elevate your cooking, butchery, all the rest, because it just allows you to get things so much cleaner. So I don't tend to get too fancy with my knife sharpening. This is just a cheap little block off Amazon. I'll put a link in the description for that, but you could go real deep and get real technical and everything and buy your expensive stones, but I'm not here to spend hours doing this. I just want a nice sharp knife so I can get some beautiful cuts. This is definitely my favorite knife for breaking down fish. That nice point at the tip, a little bit shorter than your normal filleting knife, but I think that just gives you a little bit more control over the knife and the edge of it. Alrighty, now that our knives are shaven hairs, give them a quick rinse, get this out of here, give it a little wash, make sure there's no residue on there. To the side, nice, got a little kink at the end of it, which is a bit annoying, but we're out here, we'll make do. That all cleaned up. Now, while the plan is to make a crispy sort of skin for the flatty, I am thinking as well that I want to try make like a sort of gravy kind of thing. So first step, before we do anything, I want to debone this flathead, get the head off,
Could leave the head on for presentation, but I don't think it's really necessary because there's gonna be a bit, hopefully, some prettiness going on otherwise. All right, so main thing we want, head off, fins are off as well. Probably could have kept them to put into our sauce, but can't always think of everything, can you? So here we are. Head off, and we're going to be careful of the little spikes the flatties are famous for up in the gill plate. Where would they be? Somewhere. There we go, up there in that gill plate. So head off, and I think we'll take the wings as well, just because bony and whatnot, and they're not going to be great to eat around. And then we're going to take out the spine, and then we're going to have the rib bones and some pin bones as well. So a little bit to do. Start on it. There we go. Nice small bones, nice and soft. Just going straight in. Take the head off to start with, just so we can assess where we're at a bit more. There we go, head's off, and beautiful fatty throat on the flatty there as well. Just gonna split that open so we can help our little sauce. We'll make like a little gravy, I guess, a little stock, extract all of that. Just got a little bit of slime left inside the mouth. Oh, straight away, the dog always hears it, smells it. I don't know what's going on. Probably smells it, eh? As soon as you open the fish up. So cleaning that, little bit of slime there, just to get rid of that. And then finish chopping up. Get that big knife. There we go. That's what we wanted. Cleaning the knife as we go. Break that down. So now we're left with this kind of trunk body, and I'm just gonna cut in behind the wings here. And I'm just gonna do a first little pass and take off as little meat as possible, and then we can come through and make it look pretty. And I'm not too worried about cutting off extra here, just because we're gonna make that sauce, but I do want to keep it fairly nice so we can have plenty of meat. It's not a huge fish, so might come in to that vertebra there. You can kind of see the little join in the vertebrae. Vertebra. Straight through that. So that's gonna be all stuff for our gravy, stock, sauce, whatever we want to say. Spit all that open a bit. We'll get a bit of color on that when we do it as well. Bit more flavor, lad. So butterfly, well, I guess it's a reverse butterfly, a lot of people say. We're gonna open it up down the spine here. We'll just snip these ribs first, and then we can get all that out. Down next to that spine, still connected, not quite. So the most important part now is to not cut through the top of the fish. But we're gonna make our way along the spine, separating it from the meat while leaving the skin at the top of the fish intact. Constantly moving the fish around just so it's comfortable for me, because that's how you're gonna get the finest of products, you know? And make it work for you so that it's comfortable and you can work without doing gymnastics and whatnot. I'm just gonna open it up bit by bit. That spine revealing itself in there. Just constantly running the finger down as well, just to help separate that meat. Beautiful white meat on the flathead. I think this is why it's like been a popular fish for so long. There's like you got none of that red bloodline that you see in a lot of other fish, and beautiful white flaky meat. It's a predator, of course, so it's got beautiful meat. I think in the days of old, of very different ways of handling fish, these fish would have held up very well. Not so oily, which is not good or bad, really. It's just different. It's like a different way of, you got to handle the fish. So that's pretty much separated down to the skin now. So you can see the skin actually just through there. So you just want to make sure we don't puncture that meat all separated. I'm just gonna come through with the skizzers again. You could probably run a knife down there, but do yourself a favor and make your life easier with some scissors. Oh, did we have it? Oh, we've gone through a little bit. Oh dear. So we're gonna come up, we're gonna risk leaving some spine on just to make sure we don't punch through the skin there. There we go. So clip both ends and then run the scissors, whatever it is you're using, along the top of the fish. Along the top of the fish, and then you're left with the spine here. So bits of bone, whatnot. That's all gonna be for the sauce. Now I got the ribs, much like other fish. We're just gonna run the knife in underneath here, slice them up, and there's a little bit of belly meat there, so we'll try and retain that. Might just have to get rid of that membrane up there though. Or we'll just take that through there. Just feeling where those bones are with my fingers and working through. Might even be able to, the ribs might be a bit big for the tweezers, but could work potentially. Okay, so we got just a bit of belly, a little gut membrane in here, so I'm just gonna try and get rid of that anyway. We won't really cook with that, just because it gets exposed to stomach juices and all sorts of stuff that's not great for eating, for meat. A little bit of shambles here. That's right. Ribs on the sauce pile, I reckon. Just clean that up as well. And then a bunch more ribs and whatnot. And pretty sure we're gonna have some pin bones as well somewhere. Potentially these are the bones I'm thinking though. Ooh, yeah, see, this is the drama. They go through almost to the skin, so be very careful. I can get the scissors back on these just to be delicate with it. Look at that. Easy does it, hey? We got some more. I can't tell at this point if they're pin bones or rib bones, but either way, we're taking them out. Chuck them on there. Feels pretty good. I don't think there's any pin bones left in there. And these bad boys now. Very soft meat here. You can see those big sort of flakes. That's beautiful meat. Nice and flaky. That's why everyone raves about the flatties, you know. Oh, beautiful white meat. Sure is. Alright, separated. Just running the knife down along those bones. And we've got them. Ribs out. Ooh, mostly. A couple little tiny things there. What are the odds as pin bones as well? I feel like two E's. No, I feel like flatties do have that extra line of pin bones, don't they? Shall we investigate? No, nothing. Can't feel nothing. Alright, well, that's that sort of pretty well done skis. So this gear is all gonna go into our sauce. This beautiful flatty is gonna go back in to chill for a little bit while we prep our sauce, because it's gonna take a little while. So let's just get it set up here. Just gonna tuck all this in together. So that's where we're gonna put all our good bits in there, and then we're gonna kind of rope it up, I guess. And then flatty, there's not heaps to it, it's all right. And then paper towel in there. I just want to make sure that it's still nice and dry, because that is going to be the deciding factor on how crispy we can get this into the fridge. Sauce. So the plan originally being to make my favourite mussels dish. I had some shallots, some garlic and whatnot as well. So we're gonna take a bit of these and we're gonna use them in the stuffing, I think, and also a little bit in our sauce. So we're gonna prepare a couple different styles, I guess, if you will. Just get this bad boy all peeled up. For the stuffing, I think we just make it nice and small, thin slices and all. A bit more papery business on there. Get that off. Don't you go too crazy. Not gonna need heaps for the stuffing, and it's all gonna get blended up anyway. So let's take a bit of this. This is gonna be for the sauce, and that's gonna be simmering away. So we only really need like chunks of this one. Just gonna take off the dirty ass. It's a bit straight, isn't it? How much it's supposed to look like that, but that'll do. Just chunk him. Do we get another one? Yeah, why not? That'll do for that. For our ting sauce, gonna get some garlic, cut the bums off, give him a crush, and then stuffing. I mean, be rude not to. Get garlic. What am I doing? I got a little bowl for a bin here and I'm not even using it. Just making a mess of the joint. Alright. Bit of that, bit of that. Beautiful. Beautiful. And Also 4-ounce horse. I mean, stuffing. This one, a bit of butter. Rude not to. A little bit more butter. That'll do us. Oh, shit. So, let's get bits simmering, I reckon. That's gonna take a little while. And we wanna get that happening. First things first, a little salesman. And got a little bit of pork fat from a ragu I made the other day. Nice that colour. I burned it a little bit. Either way, bit of fat because we want some colour on our fish. Bring that rich, punchy flavour, how we like it. A bit of medium to high heat. And I'm also doing it in the saucepan we're going to be using for our sauce, because that way we can kind of get all the crispy bits, deglazing and all that kind of goodness. Just pump some heat in that for a sec. I'm gonna go too overboard, but a little bit. Throw that in. Get some sizzling. Not yet. Not gonna salt this yet either, because we can always salt it later. Harder to get the salt out, but easy to put it in. Get a bit of sizzle, huh? That'll do. All right. Just gonna throw some of this in. Get a little golden crust. Sticking a little bit stainless steel, and he's just throwing it straight in. It'll do that, but we're going to be putting water in, so it'll wash it out and we'll still extract all of that. Sizzle, sizzle. We're getting a little bit of goldenness on there. Keep it going. Keep it going. There you go, that's a better. All of that. Just focus on it. Oh, big jump on the camera there. There it is. So here, all of that goldenness. A little Maillard-y, little caramelization of proteins and extra flavor. Throw that in. Get it in there, brah. Give it a smush. Get extra surface area. You see, like, well, it's all falling apart now. But the little kind of crispy bit, like up here, that's your flavor. Right there. It's all kind of, that fat's all kind of gone skis. So, I'm gonna throw in onion and garlic. Maybe we can get a little bit of color into that as well, just before we throw the water in there and kind of deglaze all of that beautifulness. Just get the heat right down on that, and then I might pop to the garden real quick, because we got some little bay leaves growing. Pick them off the tree. Get a bit of that in there. Flavor Town, eh? That's it. That going, and then a bit of water. You know what else we got floating around? I probably wouldn't use up anyway. That could bring a bit of Flavor Town. Always a welcome addition. Celery, eh? And if you ever tried like celery salt, anything like that, celery seeds are a banger as well. Always a winner. That's no lie. So we're gonna let that simmer. Gonna put it on the back burner. Literally, back burner. Give the old cooktop a whap. And then, while that bubbles away, we're gonna keep going on the rest of it. And that off. Now, chuck a little jobby on the front burner there. Toss in shallots and the garlic. And what are we gonna do? We're gonna take that off the heat, because we're gonna go to the garden right now, because I've got some plans, lad. We are gonna throw some crocs on to start with, but I want to use some flavors, some herbiness, some Aussie herbiness. So we got this beautiful native thyme here, and for whatever reason it's been dying all on one side, but we got this beautiful growth here. It's been going strong for quite a long time. It's like a 2-3-year-old plant, so there's a chance it's just coming to the end of its life, really. But I'm gonna take a bunch of this. It's quite a powerful flavor, so we don't need a crazy amount, I reckon. And we're also gonna take some lemon myrtle, because I just think the lemony flavor is a bit more subtle. It's a bit nicer. There's a little pepperberry over there that we could try. Those leaves are like kind of like a sharp floral, definitely peppery, the leaf. Might be a bit much though, it's quite powerful. So, I haven't tried them for quite a while. Forgot about that. I think lemon myrtle, it's always a winner. Nice subtle with fish, nice and chill. Not so powerful like the peppers. Let's be selective here to encourage some more growth. Got this one right back over here, maybe. Oh, kind of want to shape it and get rid of a bit of this, I think. So we'll take that. We'll take this branch all the way back. There it is. Bit of that, just the one, a little bit more. And This is beauty. Alright, let's get back into it. Alright, so we got sauce. Well, this is not our sauce. This is our sauce, but this is gonna be for our stuffing. And just gonna get a little rinse on our lemon myrtle there and pick some of these leaves off. Get a little, turn that down our sauce while it's simmering now. Just keep it to a gentle simmer. Get a little bit of heat into that stuffing mix. Just going kind of for like a lemony, herby kind of thing, I guess, for our stuffing now. I'm trying to maybe get rid of that big ass stalk. Just trying to melt this butter down, infuse some of these flavors. Probably not necessary to totally infuse the flavors, but just out here doing bits, you know? Turn it down a little bit. A lot of people like to kind of skim the scum, as a lot of people say, with their stocks and that. And I don't know, as far as I'm aware, it's just like some proteiny thing, and if you skim it, it's just going to help it stay a bit clearer, but not really fast on an ultra clear sauce. It's not really like necessary in my opinion. Depends what you're going for though, I guess. You can look heaps fancy and have an ultra clear sauce with heaps of flavor, but I don't really care if I'm honest, so it'll do. We'll leave that just to bubble away for a while now. Oopsies. And I'm gonna give this a quick mix, make sure it's all infusing and cooking down and whatnot. I might just add a little bit more butter to that just to, it's gonna be a kind of binding agent for us. 007 butter. The name's butter binding agent. Alright, let's just get that melted down in there. Try and take some of the harshness out of that garlic and onion just because it's not gonna get a lot of cooking time, and it'll do us. So let's get on to our stuffing. So while I was away, I also got to go to one of my favorite bakeries ever on a bread and some beautiful sourdough that I picked up. But big old loaf, and as is pretty much always the case with sourdough, at least for me, never quite get through it because there's just so much of it, and being beautiful, fresh sourdough just doesn't stay premium, number one, soft and supple forever. So I'm gonna be using it, make some breadcrumbs for our stuffing. And to do that, I'm gonna make my life super easy. Just get the blender out. Can't really beat that. Can't really top it. So let's get it happening. Thinking I'm just gonna get rid of that. I'm gonna pick out all the innards of this because the crust, I'm sure it's sweet, but it's just a bit crusty in it. So we'll just get as much of this softer, nicer bread out as we can. Got this crazy sourdough stuffing. That is luxury, isn't it, man? So that's all pretty well hollowed out. Just gonna give it a quick blip, dry. Give it a little dry root, give it a little pulse job. Shout out NutriBullet. Looks pretty good from where I'm sitting. Now, I wanna make sure we're working with enough of everything here. So I'm just gonna extract some of the bread, and then you can always use that later back in if we're working with some good quantities, but who knows? A little bit questioning whether this lemon myrtle is gonna get a bit funky in the blender. Hopefully it's alright. That'll do us. So we'll get that all mixed. Go power. There it is. Looks pretty good to me. Alright, so add a little bit of this native thyme as well. Kind of like a herby, citrusy, eucalyptusy kind of flavor. A little bit mentholy as well, I must say. So little goes a long way with it. We don't need too much of it. And that's gonna do us for now. Flavor Town, check in. Got some lemoniness, plenty of butteriness. Add a little bit of salt in there. A sourdough flavor really coming through, which is awesome. That is the money, I reckon. Might add a little bit more, just a tiny bit more of the time. Starting to get the flavor from it, but it's sort of way off in the back there. And that'll do us, I reckon. We don't need too much, only a small little flatty, so that is gonna be exactly what we want and need, I reckon. Beautiful, rich, buttery. Put that to the side, set that up there. We're gonna wait a little while just for our sauce to simmer down, and then we'll be right back. Back into it. Our sauce is bubbling away, and we're gonna get this beautiful flatty all stuffed and packed with our stuffing that we've made. Get it looking good, and then get these damn gloves on. So we have our beautiful fish here, and I don't think we're gonna need to do much more aside from just getting this in there. The beautiful sourdough stuffing, just pack it in. I think we're gonna get the most of it in that gut cavity up there. I'm gonna be able to close it up around it mostly, kind of fill it out a bit. It's looking pretty good. A tiny bit more. Make sure it's nice and packed, nice and tight. Get it all looking good. Something like that. Maybe squeeze a tiny bit more in there just to make it a little more even. I'm just gonna do it, I reckon. Just get this board nice and clean. Again, just trying to, the only moisture-ish kind of stuff we want to get on that skin is going to be any fat or oil, because any watery wetness, watery moisture is going to hold us back from getting that beautiful crispiness. So now the trick is going to be attempting to truss this flathead, and it's not really something I've done much of, so we're gonna see what we can do. Watched a few videos on doing it with like beef roast and stuff, but with a fish, who knows? Can't be that much different though. Just give it some extra here, reasonably tight little slip knot, and then I believe we just do something like, figure it out, kind of like a twist and maybe another twist. We go over and then pick a little spot there, tighten that down, something like that. And then we just do the same again as we go along, about similar-ish intervals. I'm not gonna go crazy tight because we have filled it a fair bit. Just tight enough that we can get it to kind of hold its shape here. And we go twist once. So this trussing is just gonna help it stay nice and round. Try and retain the stuffing in there. And just go over, back up, sort of pack it in as we go, I guess. Even spacing, even Steven. A little bit of tension on there, hold it all together. Again, a little spin, just so we're making it work for us. We might even get a little bit more stuffing in there in a minute. Make it all pretty, nice and even. A bit more of that, eh? Take a bit out maybe. That way we can kind of seal up that end. Don't want too much bread, you know. Don't want it to take over from the flavors of the fish and everything. Bit of tension down on that. Yep, pack those breadcrumbs in there. Nice and tight. Run that loop over and tighten that down. Tighten it down. Make sure it's all packed in nice. And then I'm just gonna, I don't really know how you finish these normally, but I'm gonna go around a couple times here and just give it a little loop maybe. Ooh, little loop, just to pinch him off. And then I've seen people take, oh my goodness. Take this end, run it a bit long, snip it, and kind of run this through underneath, through all this. Get a similar kind of thing going on this end. I'll just tie that off, eh? Stop him sliding so much. Just tighten that down. And then we run it down the back here. Just go through like so. Splitting that tiny bit. And then we just tie the end off something like this. I don't know. You kind of get the idea. There's a ton of videos out there that'll explain this properly and show you how to really do it. That's all I've really watched. So you'll be as informed as I am. All right, it's all rolled up. You get bench scraper. I'd say one of the finest kitchen tools to have, just to clean up all this mess. Oh, excuse me. Get a tray, toss it all onto that. Get that nice and cleaned up. Beautiful. So now we've got trussed, rolled, flatty. Wow. That skin, a little pat down. Make sure it's nice and dry. Wow. I need a little photo op with that. Okay, so with this gal all tied up, is it gonna fit? Oh, we gotta use a big boy. Just sort of grilled, like the overheads kind of toast him up grill. Got that on a medium heat. Just got this beautiful tray, some racks just to keep it up and off the bottom so nothing's getting soggy. And I think we're just gonna be salt, olive oil, and the move is just gonna be to take a brush. We're gonna brush with oil so it's nice and oiled up because we want it nice and crispy. And for that we want plenty of oil on there. We'll get some salt on there as well. Nice and crunchy, big chunky crunchy bits of salt and oily and crispy golden skin. Beautiful. While that grill's heating up, I'm just gonna prep our sauce a bit here. Just gonna pour it through chinois, fine strainer. If you follow along, you've probably been watching me use this a little bit. Super fine strainer, it's just gonna get all those little lumps, bumps, and funky bits out. Just gonna get it all nice and smooth there. Get it all mushed around. Make sure we got as much of that moisture and flavor town out of there as possible. Let that kind of just hang out for a little bit. Let's throw that in there. That's a sink job now. Let's get a little taste going on with our gravy here. Sweet flavor. That celery is definitely coming through. Maybe a little bit too much celery, but it's definitely helped to freshen it up and brighten it up, bring it kind of a bit more herbaceous, floral. I guess that bay leaf probably helping there as well. What we're gonna do, add some butter, because that's never a bad idea. A bit of flour as well. And we're gonna do that over heat, I reckon. Get a little whisk though, just a wee one. Perfect. So we'll just get that back onto a low heat. We don't want to reduce it too much further, but we do want to get everything melty a little bit. So from here, let's just straight up, give it a little cut in the middle there. Butter going in a little bit more. Help make a sort of beautiful velvety sauce, I guess. We do want to thicken this. We want to make it a bit of a gravy. Nothing crazy, but just a little thickness. Get rid of any lumps. Always give it a taste. It's getting there. Definitely want some salt. Ooh, right on the money with the salt there. Fine balance between salted enough and too salty, I reckon. A little bit more heat going on here. Thicken up. There we go. What do they say? Coat the back of a spoon. Something like that. Kind of. Smooth, velvety sauce. It's pretty good. Pretty good if you ask me. All right, let's leave that on the heat. Let's get the fish prepped for the grill and get it going. Straight up olive oil drizzled all over the dog. Gonna help us get that crispy crackle skin that we want. Just brushing that on, being super generous. Don't be shy. If you want crispy skin, do not be shy. Making sure it's all oiled up. Lovely. And we'll get some of this salt on there. Nice chunky flakes, big pieces. Pop in your mouth sort of vibe on that. We're nice and hot. I'm just gonna go under there. And then leave the door open, we'll monitor it, check what it's doing. Just got that heat down, straight onto the skin. Nice crackly skin. When I'm doing something like that, I'm not really sure about the timing on it as well. I like to run a stopwatch just so I can keep track of where things are at and I can just check back in, get the little temp jobby in there, check him, see what he's doing. Sort of have like a rough idea, like probably check that like in 5 minutes, go check it, see what it's doing, adjust the temperature if you need kind of thing. And then, yeah, stick it with this bad boy. And then that'll do ya. There we have it. So testing, probing at about 76 in there, so a little bit over, but we'll try and get a little thick part here. 61 it's saying there, 56, 53, 52. So I think that's gonna do us. Nice and close, rather be a little under than a little over for the fish. We don't want them drying out too much. And hoping we got some nice crispiness. Some of it, a little crispy up here. Not so much down around the sides, unfortunately, but can't win them all. So what we're gonna do is get this board out and scoop him up right here for a sec. And then we're gonna get these racks out here. What we're gonna do, we're gonna get this off the racks and carefully remove our beautiful trussing. Might have to get the pointy knife, I reckon. Something like this. Start taking all of this off. Kind of hope that it holds its shape. Very gentle. What I'd love to do is get kind of like round slices, and then we can lay them in the beautiful gravy we've made. Getting there. Getting there. Take all this off. Wow, wow, wow. Okay, that. Get all that off. Beautiful. Clean up the work area. Clean sight's a happy sight, you know? Now, the trick is gonna be, did I sharpen the knife enough to get a beautiful slice? Everything can maintain its shape and stay pretty, much like cutting sushi or something. Somewhat. Ooh, there is some bones. We didn't get them all, unfortunately. Looks like it may be a little overcooked. It did get quite hot. Skin is beautiful and crispy. Sourdough stuffing is really good, really moist. Not drying out. That's what we like to see. I don't think this knife is sharp enough, but anyway, it is what it is. Maybe this one. This one's always pretty sharp. Oop. That is what I was after. Just want to hold it together, kinda. Gonna try and snip the little backbone bit. There it is. Just want nice, smooth motions. A little bit sharper knife would have helped a bit more. Yeah, I think that fish is a little overdone. I don't know if you can see it on the camera, but we do have some pearlescent glow into it. I just pre-cut a couple slices here so we don't damage any of that beautiful meat. I wonder if we could do a little presentation kind of. How many wood do we get? Not many. Why don't we take a selection? Maybe we'll get that. Just get it. I think that one a little bit prettier. A little bit dry, that fish, but mate, it is what it is. Got a little polish on the plate. Get our gravy. Just want a knife just to coat the bottom of this plate, bowl thing. Nothing too crazy. A little tapper. Get the fuck out of here, fly. And, oh, we may regret this. We done it. And we got, ooh, we're not gonna get many in here at all. Might do a little stacking job there. Something like that. Do we add? I don't know. I think we just go like that. Leave him as he is. I'll make another one quickly. There it is. Have your pick on which one you like. Yeah, both pretty, but never know. See which one takes your fancy, hey? Lovely. Not even entirely sure how to attack this bad boy. Looks pretty good though. I'm pretty happy with it, if I'm honest. The gravy does taste pretty bloody good, and this tail's looking good. Fish probably could have been cooked a bit less. I always prefer keep it on the underside, but it just wasn't getting the color, so I was just keeping it under that grill. But probably could have gone. I was maxed out on the heat, but I probably could have lifted it a bit higher in the grill. I think time is still going. I think it was cooking for about 10 minutes though under the grill. He's only a small fish, quite thin meat, so it would have cooked real quick. So next time, oh, few bones, full bones. So next time, high up in the grill, cook for less time. Need some super high heat to get that crispy skin, I guess. Nice and close to it, it'll zap it. Yeah, and then we can get a bit more crisp on the skin while also cooking the meat less. So I think that's gonna be the move. But flavor-wise, pretty happy with that. Done all right. The sourdough stuffing is definitely pretty special, I reckon. Sort of absorbed all those moisture. Absorbed all the moisture from the fish, all the drippings and all that kind of stuff, so. Pretty good. Shame about the meat. It's not crazy because I think the sourdough kind of held on to that. A bit of moisture, so it's not like you're eating super dry stuff. And also you get a bit of lubrication from the gravy. So it's not too bad, but it's a shame. I hate overcooking fish because it does just dry it out. And it changes the whole experience from when you got like some nice fatty fish and everything else. I guess flathead isn't super oily or fatty though anyway, so not really gonna get that. It's a fine line between overcooking it and not. So yeah. Overall though, very happy with it. Something I'll be doing again. Presentation, pretty happy with it as well. You do only get one of those little tail portions, and maybe you could do with something else. It is a little beige-esque. So maybe you could do with a little thyme, a little native thyme on there, something like that. I did consider it, but I just didn't want to mess it up. So we got what we got. I'm pretty happy with it. If you liked the video, give it a like. If you learned something, if you want to keep up with what's going on and not miss out on anything coming up, make sure you subscribe as well. What do you reckon?
That's potentially the best thing you've done.
Damn.
That's good.
Did you get a couple little bones?
Yeah.
Or just the little spine? Yeah, spine from the top of the fish. That was a good one. I overcooked the fish, but I was pretty happy with it. Straight off the south coast, bit of special honor bread sourdough stuffing. What I wanted to get it was like full crispy skin, like crackling skin. Which didn't, some of it, a little bit on the top was like that, but it needed to be hotter and then closer to the grill because the meat was overcooked. The meat was a bit dry.
Did you only cook it in the grill?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah,
That was 10 minutes in the grill because it's only small fish. And then once you debone it, it's quite thin, so it'll cook quite quickly.
Okay. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I, for some reason, thought you kind of did it in the oven and then the grill, and I was going to suggest just do it in the grill. I don't know how else you would do that then.
I did it low in the grill, so I'd just do it as close as you can get to the grill straight away, top heat.
Like well crispy. If you put it close to the grill, you're just going to have a black burn at the top mark. It's not going to hit the sides.
I wonder if you could blowtorch it.
Potentially, but you'll be there a while.
Oh, I'll cook it, but then blowtorch to finish or something.
Yeah, but again, it's just that insane heat.
Nice. I'm glad you liked it. I was pretty happy with that one.